Have one of those moments where someone strolls right up to you in broad daylight and says with a straight face, "You don't belong here, hand over those keys," and you just know deep down you're about to enter a fight that'll out-crazy any reality show you've ever seen. That was me standing in my grandfather's cabin with Brenda Hartwell, our self-appointed HOA queen, blocking my doorway boots, crunching pine needles, demanding the keys to property my family's owned since Kennedy was president. "Yeah, right, lady. Not a chance in hell." Her smile froze solid. "Keep those keys then. But I'm calling the police." So I kept the keys. 20 minutes later, 2 deputies knocked on my door. Apparently, Brenda reported me for illegally possessing stolen keys to my own damn property. I had to show the sheriff deeds, probate papers, you name it, while neighbors gathered outside to watch the circus. Imagine calling the cops on a guy just for keeping keys to his own family's cabin. You ever seen anything that nuts? But here's the best part. This wasn't even the wildest thing she did. See, I'm not just some random cabin owner. I build military-grade security systems for a living. Ranchers, tech millionaires, doomsday preppers, 23 years making sure nobody gets in unless I say so. But the only place that ever truly mattered was this mountain cabin in Pine Ridge, Colorado, my grandpa's life's work. Hand-hewn logs, stone foundation, off-grid solar, and a creek so clear you could count the pebbles. I grew up here every summer learning to respect hard work, honesty, and as Grandpa liked to say, locks keep honest people honest. But the dishonest, you gotta get creative. When Grandpa passed at 91, the inheritance was clean. Deed, transferred taxes, paid no mortgage, no liens. 40 acres of Colorado heaven, just me, mountain air, and 60 years of memories. I figured I'd spend the next few months patching the deck, sipping coffee, breathing freedom, until Brenda showed up. I was elbows deep in a stack of weathered boards when her Mercedes pulled up so shiny it looked like it belonged in a car commercial, not on a dirt road. She gets out, silver hair bobbed just right, dressed for a hike that never saw a drop of mud, clutching paperwork thicker than the Denver phone book. Brenda fled some corporate law gig in Denver, bought a mansion in the gated section, and within 6 months, no kidding, got herself elected HOA president. She's been terrorizing folks ever since. That morning, mountain air smelled like pine and wood smoke. Birds were chirping. Brenda came marching up my porch boots, spotless clipboard ready to strike. "I'm here about your property compliance violations." I set my hammer down, already knew where this was going. She starts flipping pages. "Your cabin violates our aesthetic standards. That rustic log exterior, totally inconsistent. Those solar panels, eyesore. And your old pickup. Don't get me started." She's standing on my grandpa's porch telling me his life's work isn't good enough. "Lady, this cabin's been here longer than your HOA. My grandpa built this before your community guidelines even existed." Brenda just smiles, never misses a beat. "I'm afraid you're mistaken. You have 60 days to comply. Estimated cost $45,000. If I didn't forced sale lien the works." And here's where I should have realized it wasn't about aesthetics. Brenda wasn't just after compliance. She wanted my land like she'd already done with others. But at that point, I was still thinking I was dealing with a regular neighbor, not the villain from a John Grisham novel. "Get off my property," I said, keeping my cool. She just smiled, 60 days clock's ticking. So I stood there watching her Mercedes vanish down the road, breathing crisp air, feeling Grandpa's words echo, "Dishonest folks require creative solutions. Time to get creative." Honestly, I should have seen her next move coming, but even after 2 decades working for people who think money's a substitute for decency, I underestimated Brenda. Tuesday morning, I'm at a job site wiring up a security system when the sheriff calls. "Mr. Blackwood, we need you down here about a theft report, keys to a cabin that allegedly isn't yours." Next thing I know, every worker on site's staring at me like I'm a criminal. In a small town, your word is your bond, and Brenda just tried to break mine. At the sheriff's station, Deputy Rodriguez, decent guy, hates drama, slides some papers over. "Miles, I know this is crap, but we have to check it out." Turns out Brenda's telling everyone I forged the inheritance in the cabin is really community property. Thing is, inheritance fraud's no joke, can land you 20 years if you mess up. Lucky for me, I keep every paper, every photo, every notarized scrap that proves I'm the real owner. Rodriguez checks it over, shrugs, I figured. But even if they clear me, the stink of an accusation lingers in a small town. That's when it hit me. Brenda wasn't trying to get me arrested. She wanted to assassinate my reputation. Vicious, but smart. So I started digging spent weekends in the courthouse basement, neck deep in files older than disco. I found a tiny detail most folks miss. Colorado law says HOA charters expire every 25 years unless renewed. Pine Ridge's original charter expired in 1987, meaning Brenda's authority was about as real as monopoly money. But here's the kicker. Mountain Vista Development, a shell company, had been snapping up mountain properties at dirt cheap prices right after owners got hit with compliance violations. Registered agent Rick Donovan, Brenda's boyfriend and a contractor with a criminal record. Monday, I filed harassment and fraud charges plus a restraining order. Brenda didn't miss a beat, called an emergency HOA meeting that night. Rumors started flying. I was dangerous, unstable, threatening old folks. The community center was standing room only. Brenda commanded the floor, looking like she was running for mayor. "This individual's a danger to the community," she announced, waving around an empty chair where I should have been groveling. But then something amazing happened. Frank Kowalski, tool belt old school, stands up. "I've known Miles 15 years. Only danger I see is you, Brenda." Tom Bradley, disabled vet. "She tried to fine me $8,000 for a ramp I already have." Sarah Mitchell, school teacher. "She threatened to foreclose on me for fake septic issues." Turns out Brenda'd been squeezing over $180,000 out of families right into Mountain Vista accounts. But then as folks started shuffling out, Eleanor Denver, 73, hands shaking, pressed a folder into my hands. "She destroyed my family too. My Harold died fighting her fake violations, heart attack from the stress. I kept every letter, every lie." Inside, a paper trail of forged docs and illegal fees spanning 5 years, 6 families, 6 stolen properties. Suddenly, it wasn't just my problem. It was organized crime in a homeowners association mask. Brenda, of course, stepped up her game. Contractor trucks surveying my land at dawn, dumping trash by my creek, cutting my fence. I upgraded my security, pro-grade motion sensors, cloud storage cameras, logging every plate, every face. Then came the official inspections. County guy shows up. Someone says your solar panels are a fire risk. He checks every inch, laughs. "Your system's museum quality." Miles. Utility company tries to shut me down for illegal connections. My wiring's cleaner than the courthouse. But every bogus complaint triggers inspections that bypass due process, easy to abuse if you know the loopholes. Late one night, cameras catch Rick's crew planting plastic bags near my electrical panel. Next day, an anonymous tip to the sheriff, chemical odors, possible drug manufacturing. They were trying to frame me for meth production. Asset forfeiture, instant property seizure, one phone call away. But my security footage documented every move. Time to flip the board. And just when you think it can't get worse, Brenda launches a social media blitz painting me as a crazed hermit. Photoshopped images, edited footage, fake posts. Suddenly half the town's convinced I'm a threat. Deputies show up, forced to investigate anonymous reports. The whole thing's a mess. Then Brenda's network hits my insurance, false reports of high-risk activities policy canceled overnight. Vulnerability right there. Frank, retired FBI, turns out helps me organize evidence while whistleblowers start appearing. A kid from Rick's crew brings me a manila envelope, proof Brenda paid them to harass, plant evidence, intimidate. But the last page hits like a lightning bolt, a forged county condemnation order for my property scheduled for Saturday. I'm scrambling through papers when I find a faded survey, Grandpa's from '61, showing rare earth minerals, lithium, cobalt, tantalum. At today's prices, my land's worth $50 million, maybe more. Suddenly, Brenda's whole scheme makes sense. They weren't after the cabins, they were after the mineral rights. Turns out most families don't even know they own what's underground. Surface and subsurface rights are separate. And during fake foreclosures, Brenda's network had been transferring mineral rights to their shell companies. My grandpa, though, he was smart. His deed had a perpetual family ownership clause locking mineral rights to the Blackwood line forever. So I set up my cabin like Fort Knox, military-grade locks, motion sensors, backup power. Worked with federal prosecutors, FBI, and every neighbor Brenda ever tried to ruin. We built a wall of affidavits and digital evidence. Tom Bradley mapped the conspiracy vets, elderly single moms, all targeted. Sunday night, I staged a security gap, let cameras catch Rick's crew breaking in planting meth. Called the feds, they swarmed the place. Brenda's crew got caught red-handed. Monday morning, Brenda strutted into the emergency town hall selling lies until half the community turned on her. Testimonies, financial records, audio of her plotting arson and violence. FBI agents arrested her and her cronies right there. But criminals that desperate don't go quietly. Brenda posted bail, tried to get my property seized on fabricated environmental grounds. But the feds had already seized county servers, found every fraudulent doc and email. Her last attempt, Rick and armed men storming my cabin, cut short by alarms and a wall of neighbors standing together. Sirens, media, and the feds made it clear this time the good guys were winning. When Rick's phone call caught Brenda ordering arson, burn it down, it's worth $50 million. It was game over. Federal agents stepped in, charges stacked higher than the Rockies. Courtroom packed, neighbors cheering. I ran the lock system live from my phone, showed how we caught everything on camera. Every family Brenda robbed got their justice and their property back. 6 months later, Brenda's in federal prison for 12 years. Rick got 7, county officials 5. Restitution fund returned millions to the families she targeted. My grandpa's cabin is still standing now with security systems other contractors travel cross-country to see. The lock I designed is licensed nationwide. Royalties go to legal aid for folks fighting HOAs like Brenda's. Communities stronger. We celebrate Heritage Protection Day every year now, and the Blackwood cabin is a symbol of what happens when regular people refuse to be bullied. Even better. Turns out Grandpa left one last surprise, a safe deposit box with mineral rights paperwork showing the land's worth even more than we thought. I donated it to environmental conservation so nobody will ever dig up that mountain. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line between standing your ground and letting a bully win? Have you ever faced an HOA or authority figure who went too far? Drop your story below. I bet we're not alone. And if you take anything from my mess, let it be this. Keep your paperwork, trust your neighbors, and never ever let someone like Brenda Hartwell take what's rightfully yours.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.